So, not a bad point at all yesterday, all things considered. If you look at the form, so go onto the Premier League website, and when you look at the league table, it'll always give you the form over the last 5 games. So if you look at West Ham's form over the last 5 games, it's a little bit better than the teams below us. Not a lot. There's 1 win, there's 1 loss, there's 3 draws over the last 5 games. I think probably more importantly, it's not as good as the teams above us. And this is where we might find ourselves in a bit of a problem here. Let me just have a quick look now. Wolves have got 3 wins in the last 5. Nottingham Forest, 3 wins in the last 5. Leicester, again, I mean, they're just... I think you can almost count Leicester out of it now. Return of James Maddison, he's that good. He makes such a massive difference to Leicester. The only team above us who maybe are not in the best of form, you'd have to probably say a Crystal Palace. Maybe throw Liverpool in there as well, but Liverpool are not going to go down regardless of how bad they've been. Palace, okay, but they're 5 points better off than us at this stage of the season. So I think we're probably looking at the teams below us. I think that's probably fair to say that. With that in mind, a good draw, I guess so. I think we've got to back it up and we've got to do something against Tottenham. Then we've got to go on a little run after that. Are we going to be able to do that? I don't know. Look, here's the point. We've gambled. We've very much gambled on retaining David Moyes, and we gambled by the limitations in the business we did in January, which is what I want to discuss here a little bit, and primarily Said Benrahma, as you'll have seen from the title of the video. When I say these sort of limitations of what we did in January, obviously we brought Danny Ings in, and I'm unconvinced. Not by him as a player, I'm unconvinced that he is the right man for West Ham and the way David Moyes plays. Play 2 up front with Skamaka and Danny Ings. I think we're going to have a really, really good chance of scoring plenty of goals, and I think we'd just stay out of it. If we could keep a good and Zuma fit and play Skamaka and Danny Ings up front, I don't even think we'd be near it. That's how confident I would be. So it's nothing about Danny Ings. However, the way David Moyes wants to deploy him, not so much. We'll talk about that in another day. But my point is, up until transfer deadline day, we still had a £25 million bid in for Taron Moffey. And that's all been... It's been confirmed in France. It's been confirmed by the FC Lorient president who said as much. Basically, they didn't want to sell him to Nice. They had an agreement. So we had the money. That's one thing we know here. That's my point. We had £25 million sat there to buy another player. We didn't do it. We decided to go with what we got. That's the gamble, right? We decided to stick with David Moyes. That's the gamble. At the moment, you can't make a case that the gamble has paid off. We're there. We're teetering. We're just above it. Leeds are going to play today. Everton are going to play today. It could... Who knows what's going to happen? We'll know a lot more by the end of the day, and this video could get old very quickly in that sense. But, which is why I want to focus primarily on Benrahma for this one. What I want to do is just point up somebody who left a comment on yesterday's video, and let's just put it up there. The comment was from Nutella. I'll try and pop it up here now. He said, serious question for you, Gonzo, and for anyone else. What with the injuries to both Paqueta and Agurd, we've got to wait 3 days to find out for their scans to come in, apparently. With both Paqueta and Agurd, depending on how serious they both turn out to be, will we live to regret not being more proactive in the January window? Should Moyes be blamed for this shambles, or should the board be? So thank you very much for your question there, mate. I appreciate it because it prompted me to sort of think of this. I know it might be a little bit tenuous when talking about Said Benrahma, but that's where I see at the moment the situation that needs most addressing. Said Benrahma's form has dropped off a cliff. It's as simple as that. However, if you think I'm just making it up, I'm not. Look, over on our Patreon video site, or whatever you want to call it, there's a third channel. It's our Patreon channel. I won't bore you with all the details right now, but we do player ratings after every single game, and we also do them after we do sort of monthly player ratings. So we recently did. I've got all the figures here. So recently, we've just done them, and we've looked from the Arsenal game, so that's straight back after the World Cup, to now. And I'll tell you now, Said Benrahma is not in good form. Beforehand, he was. I think he's even won, so there's no agenda here. 3 or 4 months ago, Said Benrahma won our Play at Hammers Chat Player of the Month. His form was so good. His form is not very good at all. In fact, I would suggest, at the moment, in terms of form, he's one of our worst players. He absolutely is. Cresswell, it was worse than him, but Cresswell's gone out of the team. Only played 2 games in the last month. There's a few that haven't been as good as Benrahma, but Benrahma is in the bottom 4 players for West Ham in his form last month. We need to get this up, and this needs to improve, because at the moment it doesn't look like a threat. And this is where it sort of ties into what Nutella was saying. Should we have bought in January? I thought, if you go back to last season, the end of last season, and we were discussing what we needed for this season. Now, at that point when we were discussing it, we were pretty much riding high. There's no way we thought we were going to be in a relegation scrap this season. I know some of you may well turn around and say, well, I did individually. If you did say that, excellent, well done, that's great foresight. But in the main, when we were doing videos, we weren't discussing with this summer coming up that we need to buy players for relegation scrap. And the one thing I'd consistently say was we've got a problem on the left wing. Our left-sided attack was not great. We'd often play 4 hours there. Benrahma, it wasn't really working out for him there either. And I just felt we really, really needed a left winger. Now, you could argue we bought one in Maxwell Cornet. However, we started off this season, and over on that left side, Benrahma was really, really good. He was driving in. He was keeping his opponents guessing. Sometimes he'd go wide. He'd drive into the box. Sometimes he'd cut inside. Sometimes he'd have a shot. Sometimes he'd cross. He looked in such imperious form. Now, just for a moment, again, I want to park the reasons why his form might dip, because I know some people be watching this, some people think, well, his form's dipped because David Moyes didn't treat him fairly, and I think you'd have a case on that. I think when Said Benrahma was in form, David Moyes did drop him to the bench. I think that is true. But even if we agree or disagree why his form has dipped, I think we've got to agree his form has dipped. So I think we're back in a position that we were at the end of last season, which is we got a problem on the left-hand side. And this is what I think we absolutely should have done. We lack punch. We lack a real cutting edge there. We lack pace. I know I always go on about pace, but we keep playing teams who are buzzing around us, and we don't seem to have an answer for it. And that's one of the reasons, as I say, we'll discuss Danny Ings on another day. But that's why he doesn't look like he's going to be able to fit in and make an impact, because, well, number one, he's isolated. Number two, he's just not quick enough, and he's not athletic enough. I think on that left-hand side, you're going to need some pace there. Bowen's okay. Bowen does provide a threat. But Bowen's not rapid, but he's so busy, he's so energetic, he's got a real eye for goal, and he's got a real awareness of space. He moves into dangerous positions. That's okay. His other qualities, he's not slow, Bowen's not slow, but his other qualities basically add up to make that not matter so much. Someone rapid on the left-hand side would be really, really good. And this is what I think we've really missed, and we've missed a trick here in January, because if we had 25 million... and we decided actually what we wanted was Terry Moffey, we can't actually get him, but there's money there, then why didn't we go and spend it on that left-hand side? I really don't know why we haven't done that. That's a strange thing to do, because actually we may well get to rue that decision, because what's the point in not doing the best you can to stay up? Because we are still, and I look at it now and I go back to that league table, we are still in a relegation scrap. There's no doubt about it. Despite the fact that we've only lost 1 game in the last 5, we've also only won 1 game in our last 5. We're still there. We're still there. Yesterday we moved up to 15th. We dropped down again because of other results, down to 16th. Leeds and Everton they're just right behind us. Both of them can go above us today. That leaves us in a massive, massive mess. And I'm concerned about it. I'm really concerned about it. I know what you were saying, Otello, about the injuries to Paqueta and Skamaka, but even leaving that aside, there'll be plenty of times, I'm sure we'll feature videos about that in the upcoming days, where we'll take a look at that sort of thing, because we'll just know more about it. But what could we have done? What are we going to do to start getting a tune again out of Said Benrahma? Is David Moyes going to do it tactically? I'm not so sure. I don't know, but we need to get him fit and firing. We cannot be in a situation where we're looking at the league table and in this position, and then hoping that someone like Maxwell Cornet can come back and fire us to safety. There is no evidence to suggest that. We don't have any. He's barely played a game for us. We're hanging our hopes on somebody that's not available and is unreliable. That's the truth of the matter. And that may seem a little bit unfair, but let's be honest with you. I had it yesterday. I had a comment yesterday. Somebody accusing me of being harsh on David Moyes. And it wasn't just harsh. It was, I'd said a load of things that were disrespectful. That's the word you use. Disrespectful. I don't disrespect David Moyes. I think he's a good human being. It's just sporting opinions. And unfortunately, when you're doing this, a lot of people, if they don't like what you say, then it becomes harsh. It becomes disrespectful. Really, that sort of labels that shouldn't really be used when you're discussing a football term. So I think David Moyes is a good man. I think he's a nice man. I've got nothing but respect for him there. And I thought yesterday was I don't even know. I think the person was overly sensitive, quite frankly. But so if I'm saying now that Maxwell Cornet is unreliable, he is, in the very definition of the word unreliable. Maxwell Cornet is unreliable. We cannot rely upon him. That's all that means. It's not harsh. It's not being disrespectful. I'm not hating on him as some people say. That is it. It's as simple as that. And if he's unreliable, we can't rely upon him. We need to sort something out for that left-hand side. And that means Said Benrahma coming back to form. To go back to what Nutella said, should we have bought somebody? Yes, mate. Basically, we absolutely should have bought somebody. We should have done something else. It's quite funny how it shifts. Yesterday I thought it was a good draw. I still do think it's a good draw. But then you look at the league table and think, oh, my word, okay, that's great. We're not losing as many as we did, but we have to start picking up the wins somehow. This league table and this Premier League this season is different. I really do think it is. Even Southampton nearly got the job done yesterday. Okay, they didn't, but they nearly got the job done. Bournemouth, I'll tell you now, I watched most of that game. Bournemouth, I thought, were better than Newcastle yesterday. And Everton could be anything today, but we won't know, will we? Leeds, who knows what's going to happen? They've just lost their manager. Could work for them, could not. But a lot of these teams have either done something, either bought new players or changed their manager. They've twisted. A lot of them are twisted. We've stuck. Whether or not we're going to rue that decision, I just don't know. But I can't help but look at it, particularly when David Moyes made those substitutions yesterday. And I thought Chelsea were there. Not quite for the taking, but I thought if you put a bit of pressure on them, they might fold. And so I found it quite a negative substitution yesterday. I thought Antonio was starting to have a bit of joy. I thought bring Danny Ings on and play him alongside him, something like that. And when I look at that and I look at if that's how we're going to go, then we're lacking a bit of punch there. We need another attacker. Even if you bring in Benrahma off, even though he wasn't playing well, I still felt it to be a negative substitution, just purely because whatever was going to happen, somebody less creative was going to go in there. It might have been Fornals, but actually, Flynn Downs. I like Flynn, you know this, regular watcher of the channel. I want him to start games in central midfield. But do I want him to replace an attacking player? No, I don't. I think if he's going to do that, there's an opportunity for David Moyes here. If he's going to take Said Benrahma off because he's not playing well, then fine. But don't sacrifice an attacker. Go and play two up top. Play a 3-5-2, whatever, 5-3-2, whatever it is. Go and play Scamacca. I know we couldn't have Scamacca and Ings in that one, but play Antonio and Ings. Don't take Antonio off and replace him with Ings. A lot of this is going to come down to. It actually comes down to another post I've had from somebody who asks if David Moyes is going to. In fact, let me just pull this up now because it's from somebody else. This one is from Keith Vander. Thank you very much for the post, Keith. He said you get the feeling Moyes has plotted points he thinks we'll get in each game. I do sort of agree with that, and he's planned out the outcome. So I do think David Moyes does do that, Keith. I think David Moyes does say, oh, okay, we'll take a draw there, and we'll highlight the win in this game. Whereas I think you get somebody like Marco Silva who just thinks, you know what, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to try and win this game. His outlook would be different. He tries to win every game. What do they say? Shoot for the stars, you might just reach the moon. So, even if you don't quite get there, your ambition in going for it means you'll overachieve. Anyway, that's just what I think. Let me know what you think. Said Benrahma dipped in form. What we're going to do about it? Comments below. As you can see, if I wasn't reading the comments, I wouldn't pop them up in the chat. So thank you very much. Please do keep them coming. We'll be back tomorrow.